Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Bleach arc review. Today, I'm going to be discussing at least what I consider to be the first act of the final arc of Bleach, the 1,000-Year Blood War. Now, the first act is probably the shortest and least content-full part of the arc, so this video will probably be relatively short. So, going over the positives first, I think that this, I guess I'll call it arc, does a really good job at establishing the threat of the Quincy and the Vandenreich and the Sternritter. For the most part, Ichigo's fight against, I can't remember his name, but I know he was the jailer, was really good, and I really liked his design, and I thought having him going up against the new Fullbring Bankai Ichigo, who we've seen is very strong, as well as fighting Haribel's Fracciones in Ion, which, by the way, it was good to see Ion again, and having him basically hold them all off and forcing Ichigo to go Bankai was very impressive, and I think that did a very good job at establishing just how powerful the Sternritter are in general. Of course, there are exceptions to that. As well as the glimpses that we get of Yua and many of the other Sternritter. There's a factor into what makes them such a grave threat that I'm going to discuss when I get into the negatives, because I'm really not sure how I felt about it. But yeah, especially with the Quincy just showing up in Yamamoto's office, and they're like, "Oh, hello, Head Captain Yamamoto. We're here to declare war." I was like, oh, we're just, alright, cool, I guess. Looking back, it's really funny to think that this whole arc basically started with just that. Yeah, with that, and their siege on the Seirei, killing off people like Chojuro, and quote-unquote killing Kira in, like, no time. Like, instantly they show up and bodies start dropping. I think that's a very good way at establishing the threat that the Quincy pose. Now, the other big positive that I want to talk about is Yamamoto. Because, I mean, this is basically the Yamamoto part of 1,000-Year Blood War. So, I think Yamamoto gets a lot of good character stuff going on, especially in the aftermath of Chojuro being killed. Like, talking about how Chojuro is basically, like, his best friend, like, his only close personal friend, and I'm like, damn, fuck, that really sucks. I see why you hate those Quincy guys so much. They really are assholes. And him going up against that guy whose name I can't remember, well, to be fair, he gets, like, zero diffed almost instantly by Shikai Yamamoto. I guess Shikai Yamamoto kind of got shit on the same way Ion did. It was like one sword slash. But that was really good. I especially loved after the flashback. First of all, let me say that the chapter where Yamamoto has his flashback of Chojuro is probably one of the better chapters in this arc. I especially liked, I think it was the first page, where you have the Sternritter with all of the lightning of Chojuro's Bankai coming down behind him. Then you have, like, Yamamoto, like, part of his face, and then we see his memory of Chojuro using his Bankai, the one other time that he's used it. And then he's like, closing his eyes, because it's a very painful thing to think about. And then when you get to the end of the chapter, and he's like, Chojuro, you must be mortified to see your Bankai used by this. The Bankai that you cherished so much was not this weak. And then he just kills that dude in one slash. That was so good. That was really good. Honestly, Yamamoto's rampage, I guess, even though it's really just him killing that guy and then going over to fake Yua, was really good. The fucking build-up to Yamamoto going to that fight was amazing, where he walks past Hisagi and he's like, "Don't worry about this. I will not let even one of them live. I will kill all of them myself." And then flies off to go fight Yuha. And then you've got, like, all of the captains, like, they're all, like, in shock. They're like, holy shit, Yamamoto is pissed. Oh my god. That was so good. Oh my god. man, I didn't think I'd get this excited talking about it. Holy shit. And Yamamoto taking out his Bankai was really great. Yua takes out his sword, and Yamamoto says, "Oh, I see you finally drawn it." I have no idea why I'm, like, quoting all of this stuff. I assume the, like, 30 people that are going to watch this video are all well aware of what happens. But it's really fucking good. And Yua says, why? You sound like you were, waiting for me to do it. And Yamamoto goes, "Oh, and why do you think I was waiting for that? Your sword, your flesh, your blood, your bones, your very soul. It's so I can crush it all to dust." And then he goes Bankai. And let me say, Yamamoto being surrounded by firestorms constantly whenever he's in Shikai, Ryujinjaka has been unleashed. When he calls out Zanka no Tachi, and it's just this burnt little katana, I'm like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, I'm liking this. And just in general, Zanka no Tachi, what would you want to call it, forms, cardinal directions of Zanka no Tachi, are all very amazing. My only complaint about Zanka no Tachi, other than Yamamoto probably not needing to use all of the forms to beat fake Yua, is that with Zanka no Tachi North, you get like this double page spread of him doing the slash, and it's all dramatic, and you've got all of the stuff on the panels with like the kanji, and you're like, oh my god. And then the next page, like, Yua's midsection is missing, and I'm like, oh. Alright, I guess. I mean, I think, like, I have a general understanding of how Zanka no Tachi North works, and how it's just like, everything in front of me, when I do that slash, it's just gone. So it's just like a ranged version of Zanka no Tachi East. East? Yes. And I think Kubo probably could have done a better job of portraying that by just showing, like, all of the stuff behind fake Yuha getting vaporized, to better show that it's like a ranged attack. It's just not him swinging his sword and then, oh, Yuha's midsection disappears. Like, have all of the environment behind him, just have a slash through it. That probably would have been a better way of doing it. And for the last really good thing, I would say that Yamamoto's death is fairly well done. I get very pissed off. Probably, it's intentional for you to get pissed off when the main villain kills this character and then they're, like, stepping on their head and shit-talking them. But you're supposed to get pissed off. That's the idea. And I thought, Yamamoto's, like, flashback to his death and how dramatic it was. It was a very well done death. And of course, we have to get rid of the de facto strongest character when we get into the war arc, because of course we do. Now, to discuss some of the gripes I have with this arc, is that, let's get started on the first big one. What's my first big issue with this arc? I don't understand why Kubo teased the return of Grimmjow and then didn't actually show him again for like 130 chapters. Like, are you shitting me? Like, almost 3 years after you teased him coming back, and then just nothing after that. You get like one tease of him while Kisuke's talking to Mayuri. That just seems like a really weird choice to do. Because then, like, what was the point of teasing him coming back that early if you're not going to actually show him again until, like, the very end of the arc? It just doesn't make sense to me. What else? I don't like how a lot of these fights happened off-screen. Like, you had Rose... Forgive my cat meowing in the background. You had, like, Rose, going up against Nana? I forget how many Nas are in his name. But that seemed like it was a fight that was going to happen, and then that just happened off-screen. Oh, right. Okay, let's get into the big stuff. Actually, no. One more minor gripe I have is, like, really, you couldn't let Ichigo have full-bring Shinigami powers for, like, a little longer? Like, he literally just got it back, and then Yuha immediately breaks it. I mean, like, come on, Kubo, you can't let us have this cool new form for just a little while longer. Oh, well, what can you do about it? Alright. Big issue. First one, let's get it out of the way, because it's a little smaller. Why did you have to use the Lloyd brothers for Yua's, or not Yua's, Yamamoto's fight? Like, couldn't you have just had him fight Yuha, and then Yuha win? I don't know. Like, because it feels like kind of a cop-out. Like, literally every time Yamamoto fights, someone has to do something to trick him. I don't know how I feel about that. So it just feels like kind of cheap where Yamamoto went Bankai against someone who's basically like a nobody, like a loser tier Stern Ritter. And then Yua just shows up and he's like, hey Yamamoto, let me nab your Bankai and then one-shot your base form. Which is still very impressive at establishing Yua as a threat. But it just feels kind of cheap? I don't know. Now about the Bankai stealing thing. I really don't know how I feel about that. I still don't know. Because, like, it's a neat concept, but, like, the Bankai are supposed to be part of, like, the Zanpakuto. It's like the true form of the Zanpakuto, ignoring true Shikai and Bankai. So it's, like, really weird that they're able to steal it and then use it themselves. It's like, what? And I would probably have less of an issue with it if they didn't just throw away the concept, like, halfway through the arc. Like, Kisuke comes back with the things from Hueco Mundo, and then they're like, oh, I guess we can't steal their Bankai anymore, because we get the tummy ache when we try to steal them now that they're heart hollow, or whatever. And also, like, Yua stealing Yamamoto's Bankai. We have seen, like, I originally thought, alright, why does Yua never use Yamamoto's Bankai again? Oh, maybe it's because he died and then it dissipated. But no, Chojuro still died, and the Stern Ritter was able to use his Bankai. So why would Yua steal what's either the first or second strongest Bankai in the entire series and then just never bother using it? Is it because he's already plot-shatteringly broken? Probably. But it just feels like a major oversight. Like, what was even the point of having him steal Zanka no Tachi if he never uses it? I don't know. Alright, let's get into the big issue that, like, everyone has with this arc. Should Byakuya have died? So, Byakuya's death was really good. It would be the best death in the series if it happened. So you have Aznot stealing, Zenbon Sakura Kagayoshi. And then uses it, and he eviscerates Byakuya. He fucking destroys him. And you have Ichigo come back. And Byakuya, this person who was always looking down on Ichigo in the past, he says, Ichigo Kurosaki, please save the Soul Society. And you're like, holy shit. And Byakuya's like crying. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. Then you have that one page, and I think the chapter after that, where Byakuya is like standing up holding what's left of Zenbon Sakura, and then it just slowly falls out of his hand over like 3 panels, and I'm like, oh my god, that's amazing. And then they're like, oh, Byakuya's in a coma. Like, really? Now I understand. I fucking get it. That Kubo was getting death threats over killing Byakuya, so like, I understand on, like, a personal level why he decided to not kill Byakuya. To basically cop out on killing him. Because, you know, when you get death threats for things, and you're not, like, willing to take a bullet over your comic, I understand. But then, you can tell, for the rest of the story, that Byakuya was supposed to die. Like, I like Byakuya. I don't mind that he didn't die. The issue is that he doesn't die, and then nothing really important happens with him again. He gets, like, a new form for his Bankai, and that's really it. And we're sort of deprived of growth for other characters, like Renji. Renji would be captain, yeah. And, you know, Renji would be able to grow outside the shadow of Byakuya. And then, of course, Rukia. I mean, come on, Rukia... I should probably wait until the next video to get into it, but I think Rukia basically got robbed of really good character development, and instead got alright character development by not killing off Byakuya. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's really all I have left to say. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I'm doing Bleach arc reviews every week until I finish the series, and it just so happens that there's only 2 weeks left. Next week I'm going to be talking about what's the second act of this arc, which is basically the Von Wright's second invasion of Serete and the stuff that goes along with that, with Ichigo regaining his Zanpakuto, and Yua and the Schutzstaffen's attack on the Soul Palace. So look forward to that. If you enjoy discussing Bleach with other people, or you enjoy the content I produce on this channel, I would advise that you check out my Discord server. I have a link to it on my channel. If you enjoy other series such as Record of Ragnarok, Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, and Kengan Omega, I do videos on this series as well, so if you're interested, you should check out my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you around.